You are 22 years old. You have a job, a salary that felt like enough until you actually saw your bank account after rent, food, subscriptions, and one night out that somehow cost $140. Nobody taught you this. Not really. School gave you algebra and history, your parents gave you a debit card and the vague instruction to be responsible. But nobody sat you down and said, here is exactly how money works. Here is what to do with it. Here is the difference between the people who retire at 52 and the people who are still working at 72. This is what your life looks like if you make those decisions, starting now. Your first paycheck feels like proof that you made it. It isn't. It's the starting line. Here's what most people do with their first real income. They upgrade their life to match it. Better apartment, new car payment, nicer clothes, dinner instead of groceries. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it is the first way the system takes from you before you even understand how the system works. The first rule is this. Every time your income goes up, your savings rate goes up first, before the upgrade, before the celebration, before anything else. You don't live on what you earn. You live on what you decide to keep. Most people in their 20s spend 100% of what comes in. Some spend more. The people who quietly build wealth spend 70, 80, sometimes 85% and invest the rest before they can touch it. Not because they earn more, because they decided what the money was for before it arrived. That decision, made at 22 instead of 32, is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not someday, mathematically, right now, on a spreadsheet if you run the compound interest numbers. Start there, not with the apartment upgrade, not with the subscription, with the percentage you keep. You've decided to save money. Now what? This is where most people stall. They open a savings account. They feel good about it. And then, slowly, quietly, that money gets absorbed back into life. A weekend trip, an emergency, a thing that felt necessary in the moment. The problem isn't discipline. The problem is design. Money that sits in your checking account will be spent. Not because you're irresponsible, because it's there. Because the brain doesn't distinguish between money available for rent and money available for living. The structure is simple. 3 accounts, 3 purposes, no exceptions. Account 1, fixed costs, rent, utilities, insurance, the things that happen whether you think about them or not. This account gets funded first, on payday, automatically. Account 2, investments and savings. Emergency fund first, 3 months of expenses sitting in a high-yield account, untouchable except for actual emergencies. Then index funds, then retirement contributions. This account also gets funded automatically, on payday, before you see the money. Account 3, everything else. Food, entertainment, the $140 night out. This is your spending account. When it's empty, it's empty. You don't move money from account 2 to cover it. You adjust. This structure removes the decision. You don't have to be disciplined every day. You only have to set the system once. The system does the rest. That's the second rule. Automate the behavior you want. Don't rely on willpower. Willpower loses. Systems win. You probably have debt. Student loans, a car payment, maybe a credit card that started as a temporary solution and became a permanent fixture. This is normal. It is also one of the most expensive mistakes you can normalize. Not all debt is equal. This is the part most people miss. High-interest debt, credit cards, payday loans, anything above 7 or 8% is an emergency. It compounds against you the same way investments compound for you. Every month you carry a $5,000 credit card balance at 22% interest, you are paying $91 for the privilege of owing money. That $91 is gone. It builds nothing. It earns nothing. Pay high-interest debt first, before investing, before saving aggressively, because no index fund will reliably return 22%. Paying off that debt is a guaranteed 22% return on every dollar you put toward it. Low-interest debt, mortgages, some student loans below 5%, is different. You can service it while investing because the market historically outperforms it over time. This is a calculated decision, not a free pass. The third rule is eliminate the debt that costs more than the market can return. Then and only then does investing make mathematical sense. You hear the word investing and you picture a trading screen, a Bloomberg terminal, someone watching numbers move in real time, making decisions, calling shots. That is not what builds wealth for most people. That is what destroys it. Studies consistently show that individual stock pickers underperform the market over time. Not some of them, most of them, including professionals, including people who do this for a living. The answer is boring, but it's the correct answer. Index funds. Low cost, diversified, long term. You buy a small piece of the entire market. When the market grows, and over any 20-year period in history it has, you grow. The S&P 500 has returned an average of roughly 10% annually over the long term, before inflation. $500 a month invested at age 22, left untouched, becomes over $3 million by retirement at 65. Not because of brilliant stock picks, because of time. Time is the variable you have at age 22 that you will never have again at 40. This is not a metaphor, it is arithmetic. The fourth rule is invest consistently in low-cost index funds and do not touch it. The strategy is not the complicated part, the patience is. You now have a structure. You're investing, you're handling debt, and then the culture comes for you. Every system around you is designed to extract money. Subscriptions that auto-renew, algorithms that surface things you didn't know you wanted until you saw them, one-click purchasing, buy now, pay later, social feeds that make everyone else's life look like something that requires spending to access. The trap is not a single large purchase. The trap is the accumulation of small ones that each feel justified in isolation. $14.99 here, $9.99 there, the dinner upgrade, the Uber instead of the train, the thing on sale that you didn't need before it was on sale. None of these feel like decisions. That's the design. The counter is intentional spending, not restriction, intention. Before each non-essential purchase, one question. Does this cost fit my values, or does it fit a feeling I'm trying to manage? Boredom spends, anxiety spends, status anxiety spends the most. None of these are reasons to move money from column 2 to column 3. The fifth rule is audit your spending quarterly, not to judge yourself, to see the pattern. The pattern shows you what you actually value, which is frequently different from what you think you value. There is a limit to how much you can cut. There is no limit to how much you can earn. This is the other half of the equation that personal finance culture ignores. Frugality is a floor, not a ceiling. You can optimize your spending down to zero and still not build meaningful wealth on a salary that doesn't grow. Your 20s are not a time to be comfortable. They are a time to build leverage, skills that compound, relationships that open doors, a reputation inside your field that makes you the person people call. Most meaningful salary increases don't come from staying. They come from moving, changing companies, changing roles, or changing industries entirely, using each transition to reset your compensation to market rate rather than incremental internal raises. The average employee gets a 3% raise per year. The average person who switches jobs strategically gets 10 to 20%. Over a decade, the difference in lifetime earnings is not marginal, it is transformative. The sixth rule is treat your career with the same intentionality you treat your investments. A higher income invested well is an exponential acceleration. A modest income invested perfectly is still a slow road. Somewhere around year 3 or 4 of doing this consistently, something shifts. Your investment account starts growing faster than you're contributing to it. The interest, the dividends, the market return, they start doing work you aren't doing. This is the moment compound interest stops being a concept and starts being visible. You look at your account and realize that last month the market added more to your balance than your paycheck did. It's a quiet shift. Nobody celebrates it with you. There's no ceremony, but it's the most important financial moment of your life because it means the machine is running. From here, the math works for you instead of against you. Every year that passes accelerates the one after it. The money you put in at 22 will do more work than the money you put in at 32, which will do more than what you put in at 42. This is why it matters that you start now, not when you earn more, not when you feel ready, now, with whatever you have. $50 a month invested at 22 is worth more at 65 than $500 a month started at 42. The math is brutal. It doesn't negotiate. This isn't just about retirement. It isn't just about a number and an account. Money managed well buys something more valuable than things. It buys optionality, the ability to say no to the job that's slowly taking your life, the ability to leave the city, the ability to take a risk on something that matters to you without betting your survival on it. Most people in their 40s and 50s are not free, not because they failed, because they spent their 20s building a life that required every dollar to maintain. The car payment, the mortgage at the edge of what they could afford, the lifestyle that needs the job to continue exactly as it is. The people who built a margin in their 20s, who invested when it felt like too little to matter, who kept their costs below their income, who grew their earning capacity alongside their savings rate,